I love the fact that it keeps a lot of competition away because they're scared. They're scared of words like Brazil and Turkey. They shouldn't be. Just, for us at VEF, they scream opportunity. My name is David Nangle and I'm the CEO of VEF. VEF is a listed investment company here in Sweden. We're listed on the main board and we've been so for the last 8 years. Our mandate is to invest in fintech across emerging markets. So we focus on taking shareholder capital and investing it into some of the most exciting fintech companies across scale emerging markets like Brazil, India and Mexico. When I think about emerging markets, I think about the biggest part of the world, the most populous part of the world, the fastest growth part of the world. You know, we're talking China, India, Brazil, Mexico, South Africa. These are the scale, fastest growing, most digitally inclined economies in the world. So for that, and for us at VEF, that means growth. That means sustainable long-term growth, and that's why we focus our mandate on emerging markets. The other part of what we do is we focus on fintech, or the future of finance. And the future of finance is evolving so quick over the last 10 years and still today, as what we've seen as the world, through the eyes of consumers and businesses, moves from old world banking of cash to digital, from offline to online. And we see that through all emerging markets, albeit in different ways and different prisms. So with VEF, as an investment company, we are the crosswinds of those two strong trends: emerging market long-term growth and fintech, the disruption in financial services. While we live through pockets of volatility, we're in investments for 5, 10, could be 15 years. So volatility like the last 12 to 18 months is expected. It's part of the business cycle, especially in early stage investing and emerging markets. And we don't like it, but we're very used to it and we deal with it. The ideology 8 years ago when we started is it's not ethical, it's not scalable. And if it's not scalable, it's not good investing. So whether you come with an impact bias to investing or whether you're just looking to deliver a good return on capital for your shareholders, impact is going to be core. So we've seen that through the prism of the investments that we've made, and I'll mention two as an example. We invested in a company in Mexico called Confio. It focused on small businesses and small business banking in Mexico. Now this is a space that's underbanked or unbanked totally in Mexico. So by actually investing in Confio, a company which helps small businesses and causes positive impact in that country, we're also delivering a good return on capital for our shareholders. And we also invested in a company in emerging Europe called TransferGo, focuses on the remittances space. And remittances is a big global industry of money sent home from migrants back home to their families. But they generally do it through a cash operations and they can pay 5 to 10%. TransferGo is a digital remittance operator, does it on your smartphone and does it for 1 to 2%. So much more efficient, better price points, better trust for the individual. But once again, its impact meets return on capital. It's not by default, it's by design that we have a lot of our capital in markets like Brazil and India today. We spend a lot of time top down in emerging markets, looking at the demographics, the growth, the ecosystems, the opportunity effectively, where we can put capital to work to make a good return on capital for our shareholders. Two markets have stood out for us and they are Brazil and India. And for two different reasons, or for a lot of different reasons. But Brazil, for us, is the #1 fintech opportunity in the world today. Why so? It's a scale market of 200 million people. That's a good start. But it's also got great regulatory support. So the regulator in Brazil has been supporting fintech companies that we back to disrupt the system, to bring down the price and the access to banking. So that's a great kind of tailwind for our capital. If you flip that to India, the differences are, and the attractivenesses are slightly different, but it's also a scale market, but it's 1.7 billion people. And the emerging middle class there is hundreds of millions of people. If you get India right, you've got a tailwind of decades of growth in that market. So we love the scale opportunity that is India. That's a bit simplistic, but it's true. But on top of that, the government has been very reform-minded for financial services, bringing a lot of people into the system, giving them banks accounts, making payments free. So it's been a very incentivized government-led push to make everybody financially literate, which for us is customer base. But the key goals for this year really around NAV per share. That's the core value proposition that we want, and we want that going up and to the right. After a pullback last year of about 50%, we've already seen an uptick of single-digit % in Q1, and everything that we see in-house, in our portfolio, in the markets, is that it will continue to do so. And the second factor we want to do is we want to close that discount to NAV. 45% is wrong and too high. It was 60%, so it's going in the right direction. So we've got two positive forces in an increasing NAV per share, a closing discount to NAV, from our share price point of view, and that all feeds into our broader long-term goals. Success is built off experience. I've been doing emerging markets for over 20 years. members of the team who've been doing it for more than 10 years. And it's experience in these markets doing investing that we do that helps us succeed in the portfolio that we have today. And it's partners, and that's partners all over the place. That's partners from our capital partners who back us through cycle. That's partners on the ground that work with us on the investment side. Venture partners in Brazil, India, Mexico help us source and work with companies. It's partners on the legal or the investment banking side. The right partners are key to our success. So when I look out 5 years, or let's even say 10 or 20 years, the first thing I do is look back over the last 8 years and what we've achieved to date. And we are benchmarked as one of the best investors in fintech across emerging markets. We've established that as a listed investment company here in Sweden. We've taken over these last 8 years, some of the biggest and best capital providers' money. And this is the Wellingtons, the Fidelities, locally Robur, Robeco in Europe. Some big capital managers have entrusted us with their capital to go off into the emerging world and find some of the best fintech assets, put their capital to work in it and return their capital at a profit. We've got a very strong track record of creating value and backing winners. We want to spread the portfolio into new markets across the emerging world, new scale markets. We're looking at Indonesia and Southeast Asia at the moment as a classic case in point. We want to see more exits in the portfolio because exits means value creation. And we've got names in the portfolio at the top end like Creditas in Brazil or Confio in Mexico, even JustPay in India. And these are ripe for exit in the next few years. You know, we listed in Sweden 8 years ago. Almost from day one, we had some big, great backers backing our story. Deep pockets like Robur here in Sweden, like Fidelity, Wellington in the United States. So the access to capital for our story, I won't say it's never been a problem, but it's always been there for us because we had good track records individually before we collectively came together, built VEF, put the mandate together, and it resonated with investors day one. What we've done since then effectively is deliver. You deliver for people in a very transparent way, a great return on capital, a great story. You hold their hand in the journey. You can come back for more. Capital will always be there for good ideas and for good investment managers. And that's the way we see it. So we don't call capital from our investors unless we see great opportunities, but when we do, we're very comfortable going back to them, telling them more capital for us means better investing for you, means a great return on capital for all. You know, we are entrepreneurs here building our business, backing other entrepreneurs. Which is great. You get to scratch the entrepreneurial itch of growing a business while seeing other individuals in scale emerging markets doing the same. I think fundamentally I like the journey of building our business over the long term. I also love the travel. I love emerging markets. I love the volatility. I love the opportunity, the value that you can create in these markets. And we are privileged in what we do here, that we get to spend time with some of the biggest, most clever pockets of capital in the world on one side, and then we're on the ground in Brazil, India, Mexico, with some of the fastest growth companies and inspirational entrepreneurs in these markets, growing great companies. So how can you not enjoy that journey? No, thank you for the interview. It's really been enjoyable. And to anybody watching our interview, thank you very much for your time and attention. And for more information on VEF, there is a lot of information on our company at vef.vc, vef.vc.